Ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna talk about cyber crisis management. And I hope I'm gonna do it interesting. I'm gonna speak fast because I don't have a lot of time and I have a lot of things to tell you. Um, I'm a partner and a co-founder at a company called Cytactic. This is what you already know. And Cytactic is only doing one thing, is dealing with cyber crisis management. Usually we would meet companies in their worst time where they are getting hacked, reporters are knocking on their doors, the regulators are calling, the customers don't know what's happening, and they will call us and we will help them deal with the incident, and we will take care of all aspects of the incident. That means that technological aspects, insurance related aspect, public relations, legal regulations, operational aspects, everything and anything that you can imagine in the course of handling the crisis. And as you can probably imagine, I have so many stories to share with you, so many amazing and crazy things that I could have told you, but sadly, everything is confidential. And most of those crisis incidents that we've dealt with never reached the newspaper. So obviously I cannot share anything with you, but luckily there are so many other incidents out there. There are so many things that happen, famous incidents that were publicly available, that we can take one of them and start to analyze it to try and figure out what did companies do wrong and how we can avoid those common mistakes. So the story that I chose to analyze, and this is a story that I love, is a story of Uber and the CISO. Now, if you're not familiar with this brilliant story, let me already tell you that Uber decided to pay, or were eventually forced to pay, 148 million because they didn't deal with this crisis in the right way. In some ways, our story starts in 2004 and actually continues up until, actually it's 2014, sorry, and actually continues up until now. So our story begins with an email. Like many other cybersecurity incidents, the CISO wakes up one morning, opens his email account, and receives an email from someone at John Doe's at Proton Mail. And if you're familiar with Proton Mail, you already know that if you receive a mail from Proton Mail, that means that you're already in trouble. Usually, this is the hacker's favorite email solution because it is super private. They ask for almost no information. They keep no information. And in this email, the hacker says, "Hi, dear CISO, we have leaked 57 million records from your account." Now, obviously, this is not how you would like to open your morning if you're a CISO. What do you do at this point? Usually, you would call the experts and you would ask them to analyze everything and start producing this IR report, trying to figure out what happened and how did it happen. But wait, at this point, they had a problem, or the CISO was in a specific problem that prevented him from doing that. While this is happening, and now we are at 2016, right? Currently, what happened is in 2016. While this is happening, the FTC is investigating Uber. And the FTC is investigating Uber because of an incident that happened 2 years before this incident. So this incident happened in 2016. They are investigating Uber because of an incident that happened in 2014. And the thing is that the FTC are not happy. And they're going through Uber's offices and they talk to everybody and people telling them, well, we have changed. This could never happen again. We improved our security. We improved the way we deal with incidents. We improved so many things. This could never happen again. And while everybody's saying that, Uber is getting hacked again. And not just that, the person who was the FTC's point of contact, the person who was giving a testimony, he testified in front of the FTC, was the CISO. So now the CISO gave a testimony to the FTC saying everything has changed, we improved, everything is great. And while he's saying that, 2 weeks later after his testimony, Uber is getting hacked again. Now, this is not an easy spot to be in. The CISO decides to do something. He decides to hide the incident. Now you might think this is a stupid way to go about it, and who would do that? But actually it happens a lot. And there's a lot of management creativity in ways organization actually hide incidents. There are three main methods organizations use to hide incidents. Method number one, the what line. What line? Oh, you probably mean this cute and harmless kitten. So organizations tend to play down an incident. That means that there is a big incident when they talk to the media about it, when they talk to investors about it, when they talk to everyone about it, they say, it's almost nothing. But newspapers have become very good at identifying organizations that play down incidents. And we see those headlines again and again. British security officials play down cyber attacks. Trump play down cyber attack. TikTok play down cyber attack. Police play down data breach. And it happens again and again. And it's very hard for the media not to notice that. And the interesting thing is that regulators around the world have started saying something very interesting. They started saying, you know what? Playing down an incident or not creating a full disclosure to investors is almost like insider trading. Because the company knows that something bad happened. The company have information about the fact that something happened that could affect its share rate. And they don't disclose this information to the external investors. So they have unfair advantage over the investors. So this is almost as insider trading. And in some cases, it is insider trading. Reporting is a serious business. Up until 2 years ago, if you would have told me reporting is one of the most interesting topics in crisis management, I would have told you that you're wrong. But today, during a crisis, reporting is one of the most important aspects. Method number two, the keep going, nothing happened method. Now, this is very common and very dangerous. And it's the story of the missing log. So what happened is that an organization got attacked. And they call the IR experts, the technical people that go there and analyze all the logs and do the log correlation and try to figure out what happened, how it happened, what was the point of entry, what kind of foothold the hacker has inside the network. Now, sometimes when those people come to the organization, they discover something which is very common. There are no log files. So they have no way to know what happened. So when they come to the CEO of the organization, they say, well, there are no logs files. We cannot know what happened. There are no evidence about anything. And the CEO says, well, what you're basically saying is that there is no evidence that something was stolen or hacked. And the IR team says, yeah, there are no evidence at all. We don't know anything. But the CEO says, well, technically, I'm not lying when I'm saying that there are no evidence that something was stolen. And the IR team says, well, technically, you are not lying. And the CEO goes, wait, this is enough for me. And they go to the public and they say things like, there is no evidence that something was hacked or stolen. While in reality, they just didn't have any logs, so they don't know. And it happened again and again. And again, the media became very sophisticated and they start analyzing those kind of things. So here is an example of ubiquity. If you don't know this story, this is a brilliant story. And just recently, some new evidence in this story was discovered. My partner here, Ido Kinan, wrote a great piece about that is about to publish. Read about the ubiquity story. But ubiquity, if you don't know this story, this company, it's a $20 billion company. And they were hacked and they published this notification to the public about the hack, which is very, very common. And it's a brilliant notification. You should read. We could have spent half an hour just talking about it, but we don't have the time. I just want to read you some important aspects of this notice. We leverage external incident response experts to conduct a thorough investigation to ensure the attacker was locked out of our system. This is a very common phrase, and it's a very good phrase. Basically, what you're saying is that we're not doing everything inside, hiding things. We brought the experts from the outside. Is an external company. They have to manage your reputation. They will not lie to you. This is good. And now they say these experts identify no evidence that customer information was accessed or even targeted. This is exactly what we've talked about. there are no logs, but instead of saying there are no logs, we don't know, they're saying that they identified no evidence that customer information was accessed or even targeted. They continue on saying the attacker never claimed to have accessed any customer information. That means the attacker never told us that he stole any information. This is why we believe that customer data was not a target or off or otherwise accessed in connection with the incident. Obviously, I don't know what happened in real time. I don't know what happened inside the company. The only thing that I know is what I read on the newspaper and on those websites. And Brian Krebs, if you don't know who this guy is one of the most famous bloggers in the security world. He wrote, Ubiquity responded to my story. He already said that they are playing down, they are hiding evidence. They responded to my story, says no evidence that customer information was accessed, but whistleblower, someone that works for the company, said they didn't keep logs on access to hack database. So, and again, you should read about the story. There are some aspects I'm not going into, but they are brilliant. And obviously, the media started talking about the fact that Ubiquity is accused for covering up a catastrophic data breach, and it's not denying it. Manage your pre-R. Sometimes public relations is the most important aspect of a cyber crisis. Now, it is very, very important not to underestimate the power of the whistleblower. And sometimes the whistleblower, the person that will share your secrets, is a surprising person. So this is a brilliant story about a hospital in Belgium, I think. Their name is La Schwapi. I hope I'm not butchering their name. And they published notification to the public about a data breach. Now, this is in French. I don't speak French, so I use artificial intelligence-based mechanism to take each and every one of those words and translate them to English. I used Google Translate, and this is what's there. And in this notification, they say, guys, listen, no computer theft was committed and no ransom demand was made. No ransom demand was made. What do you want from us? We cannot open our computers because no ransom demand was made. And obviously, the newspapers started talking about that. So Bleeping Computer is a very important website in the security news. And they talk about the fact that Schwabi hospital hit by Windows BitLocker, blah, blah, blah. And they quote the hospital. But what happened is that Bleeping Computer was contacted by the threat actors who state that they were responsible for the attack on Schwabi. That means that the attackers, the hackers actually contacted the newspaper. And they said they left ransom notes named ransom.txt on the domain controller and backup servers. So while the hospital says, I have no ransomware, the hackers call the newspaper and tell them, this is exactly how you should find your ransom note. By the way, it happens again and again and again. When a company is getting hacked, the companies sometimes believe that this is still a secret because they are the only ones that know that they got hacked. But actually, there is at least one other party, which is the hackers. And while the company lies, many times you will see that the hackers tell the truth. Okay, so we talked about two methods, the missing log and the playing down an incident. Now we have method number 3, which is make love, not war. Many companies, after getting hacked, decide to hire the hacker. The hacker says, hey, I found a way to go inside your network. I stole some information. And the company goes and said, wow, thank you so much. We were just now in the process of searching for someone to help us improve our security. We would be more than happy to hire you as a consultant. And this is great. This is great for both parties because the hacker knows that if they hire him as a consultant, he is not in risk. They will not file a complaint on the police. They will not sue him because now they have an agreement. The company knows that in the process of hiring the hacker as a consultant, he will sign an NDA, he will sign a contract, and suddenly they will become good friends. And it happened again and again and again, just like this story. Okay, so you stole. Okay, I think for some reason I got disconnected. Let me just share my screen again. Screen one. Sure. Okay, I hope it wasn't too bad, but let's continue from this point. Okay, you stole 600 plus from us. How about you will be our chief advisor, Poly Network said. So my basic recommendation for you is don't try to hide. This is very, very important. Going back to Uber, this is exactly what Uber CEO, CISO tried to do. He called the hacker, or he actually messaged the hacker. He said, you know what? Okay, I know you stole information. I know what you wrote me is real. Let me tell you something. What I want you to do, I'm willing to pay you, but I need you to work with me here. What I want you to do, I want you to delete all the files that you stole, and forget the fact that you even told me that you stole them. The second thing that I want you to do is I want you to go to our bug bounty program. This is a website that will allow security professionals to share information about problem in Uber's security and get money for it. So instead of being hackers, just be nice security professionals. Go to my bug bounty program, share information about what happened, and I will pay you the money, $100,000 in Bitcoin, right? And this is it. Instead of a hacking incident, it will be a legitimate transaction. And they agreed. And the CISO said, well, there's just one other thing. I need you to sign an NDA contract. And they signed without revealing their names, which was very stupid. They just added something. And for a while there, everything worked great. But everyone were happy. The security people were happy. The CISO was happy because nobody knows about the incident. The hackers were happy because they got paid. The CEO of the company was happy because he knew nothing. The FTC was happy because nobody told them. Everybody were happy until the moment a new CEO arrived. And I only have like 3 more minutes, so I'm going to go to the end. A new CEO arrived at Uber. He discovered about what he said, none of this should have happened. And immediately when you write something like none of this should have happened, you should keep in mind that you will get sued. The CEO, the new CEO notification to the public was published on the 21st of November, 2017. On the same day, every media outlet out there already wrote a huge story about what happened. On the same day, Uber got sued with legal action, class action, 37 pages long of a class action. Guys, remember, it is rare that after a very interesting or significant crisis, you are not getting sued. So this is happening again and again and again. I'm moving a bit forward just to give you the conclusion of the story. Uber decided to pay the $150 million. The FTC expanded the settlement. So they already reached an agreement about the 2014 incident. So they expanded the settlement, and their decision is that 2038. Just notice that the technological crisis, the security crisis could end in 48 hours. The business crisis could continue many, many years later, 20 years later. The CISO, Uber CISO, was about to face 5 years obstruction charge and 3 years for misprision charge. And eventually what happened is that just a few weeks back, they actually extended the charges, and now he's up to 20 years in prison. Okay, to conclude, where do we go from here? Remember, it's just a matter of time. Everybody's getting hacked. It's very hard to find a company that was not hacked. Number 2, companies are very good at prevention, very good at detection, terrible, terrible, terrible at response. Number 3, remember that being ready makes a difference. It's very, very important to invest in response. Make sure you're ready to deal with an incident. And this is it. This is what I wanted to tell you. If you want to contact me, feel free to drop me an email. Let's see if I have, feel free to drop me an email. Feel free to, I don't know, contact me everywhere. So thank you so much. I think that concludes my time.